What's up, everybody? But Pickle does his own grand entrance. I'll get things situated here. Since we don't do this often as much. I'm not even going to try to butcher that. Fish. Sure we will. Fisher Technic. There we go. It just looks harder than it is. TJ, TRT, and J. Not really any topic. Whatever y'all want to do. I got a few little minor things we could do. I did want to cover possibly just some mundane task in Tasmota. I know there was a couple in Discord. Hutch, I don't know if he made it in here. Hutch was trying to fight with a switch, apparently. We could do that and do to your convert on something probably. Because I've got one plug. I just want to see it. Make sure. Get rid of the notifications. So we got... So I guess how's everybody doing? Anything else before we jump in it? Look, there's Darren. Dino Tech. Question about Martin Jerry dimmer. Does it work on a ceiling fan to control just the light? So first, before... Have you figured out how to control the LEDs? I don't think there is. I hadn't messed with it much more on that. Before I jump into that, on the Martin Jerry dimmer, don't hook those up to the actual ceiling fan motor. Bad things could happen to the dimmer. I know there was a couple people that actually did try to hook those up, and they just end up smoking the dimmer. So if you do hook it straight to just the light kit on the fan, because typically on a lot of the fans, you'll have two hots, usually the black and the blue typically, but do consult the wiring diagram that usually comes with the fan. There's a blue wire that usually goes to the light kit. And if you have some dimmable LED bulbs, then yes, then you can use the Martin Jerry dimmers to dim those directly. So please don't post any links to good deals. The only one I just don't know, I don't know if it works, is that we may end up posting is the one to a power monitoring plug. I think we were getting them for a 2-pack for like $11, so that's it. So yeah, not as many. Yeah, we don't want to do just the hardware show, right? So has anybody messed with I was messing with it earlier today. Has anybody I know there's any Android users out there. I know the iOS had this for a while. Was the actionable notifications? And I'll jump back and forth in the chat. Can I flash back from Tasmota to MJ dimmer? Yes, you can. I never had any luck using the bin files directly that went through to your convert, but if you did do a serial backup using the pins, which you can a lot of times do solderless, you can flash back using serial. Yeah, the actionable notifications, and I was playing with it in just in the call. Let's see. So we'll see if we don't give out our X and Y coordinates. I've been using actionable. Okay, yeah, see, I haven't messed with that other one. There's a couple others. So the app, before I guess it should, before we jump into it, is using the regular, I guess you would say the official Home Assistant Android app. What was your message, Tim? Before I jump ahead. And Hutch, I know I did link you in Discord. If you we'll roll into that. Is we'll do some stuff with probably doing some Tasmota rules, and I know there's some others that wanted some information on controlling LEDs and changing LED power, and those are pretty simple stuff, but they can get confusing. I was going to plan on going over those. Um, Tim, what was your question? I'm going to scroll back up. Here's a topic: how to IoT an existing small appliance like a space heater or a humidifier. Um, there was that I know they were talking in Discord. There was one of the sirens. They were gonna trying to do a sniff. There's a few folks talking about those, trying to do the sniffing of the Tuya packets on those. Um, let's see. I need to do something with. I need a. There we go. Just in case I miss any messages, I can lean on. Oh, okay. I got Google well, I shouldn't say the G word. Notifications about trash day tomorrow. So if you don't have the original firmware, no, you're just not going to be able to, unless and I want to say I bet you they burn. I haven't tried that in a while. Is taking the firmware from one to your device going to another, and you just really the only way I've been able to do it successfully is take a backup of it using the FTDI adapter and back it up the full 1 megabyte, and be aware that some of the newer Tuya modules, even though the RESP8266, you want to do a flash underscore ID on those command with the ESP tool, because some of them are coming up to 2 megabytes, and you'll want to back up the entire 2 megabytes. So that way you can flash it back if you need to go back to it. Yeah, and what you'll see, we're gonna do one of the plugs here, and I want to do a plug I had, and we'll talk about some of their, because they're easy with the LEDs and it's perfect. Is I have it commented out to do the backup portion, and I'll show you where I comment that out. Just makes sense. So that the new mini Unify switch. Well, hold on. Well, let's see. The app y'all were talking about. I gotta stop looking at the other screen. So the app actually for the actionable notifications is the official Home Assistant app, and I'm pretty sure this is the one. Drag this down. And it's on the Android side, so I know probably the iOS users are probably going to nag us and say, well, we've had this for a while, but we just never really had any good development really on like an official app, which I think the same guy, Robbie, has been doing the iOS app, is doing the Android app, so kudos to him for doing both. Let's see, humidifier does not have Wi-Fi at a... So probably, Tim, probably something like that. I know I've done some things, and I've got probably several of them here. I just never, that was before I'd started doing any videos, is when you want to do some buttons, like it's like that, for instance, we've got a bed that has the tilt up part, kind of like I pick on it and say it's the hospital bed, but it's wonderful for freaking watching TV though. The remote's some weird 2.4 gigahertz remote, and it's not Bluetooth, and I just probably some proprietary stuff. And I thought about actually getting another remote and just doing some octocouplers with a Wemos D1 Mini or a Node MCU, and that you'll actually just have the Node MCU or the ESP chip using the optocouplers to keep it isolated, and actually the remote just thinks the buttons are being pushed. Yeah, and I have seen people do that. I think what Mark is talking about, we're actually using some lux sensors when they're to read different LEDs and stuff when they're trying to do like a non-invasive way of reading things. Actually seen people do that with washing machines as well, like when the finish light was on or something like that. Instead of doing that part where you have to wait like several minutes to look for no power usage. So back to the actionable stuff. They do have an example here, and I did actually play with it. Is the let's see. I did take their call service they were doing out of the example. I just took this piece right here, and one thing I haven't seen, because I tried to go in here, and I have two of them for me for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess because I took it out and put it back, but it does work. And actually, I wanted to see. I wasn't doing the part where it was getting the action back. I just want to see if it did multiple buttons, and so this did seem to work. Like if you did like, and then title, and then that. So the piece I'm cutting off is down here, where then the actual action, and that would be actually in the automation, which we're not doing in automation. We're just trying to test this out. So anybody connect sing LED light bulb to Home Assistant? Usually those sing LED bulbs are Zigbee. At least the ones that I have are Zigbee. And so let's see, call service. And let me pull up Visor. Oh, wrong window. Yeah. So now I put my a phone number up there. That's perfect, right? Y'all can all text her later, right? So you can actually see it does put the actionable notifications up there. And you get the two buttons. You can click on the two buttons. So, and of course they're not going to do anything, but it does send the notification. So on the new package tracker integration, what is the package tracker integration? Oh, HACS mail and packages. I hadn't messed with that one. So it seemed pretty simple. I know they were talking about the example here is just doing which is we did here, the closed garage door, and I haven't done actually the actions on it. I know that I saw in Reddit there was a way also you could read this doing using Node-RED. So if you want to do all your automations there, so the other thing I didn't see was, I know you can do the request location update. I hadn't tried that one yet, and I haven't messed with this one yet. I haven't seen that yet. I tried clearing the data on the app and then re-adding it, but I'm not sure exactly where those sensors are at. So if anybody has those, let me know. Yeah, it's I'm never good with time zones across the pond. And that's just the way I've always tried to do the live streams, always in the evening, just because of so much going on at the house and don't have the whole dedicated room and everything. So, but that's just the way it is. All right, Creative, take it easy. So there was another question. Yeah, see the singlet bulbs I've always done. Those were just adding those straight through Zigbee. And actually, on the previous live stream when we did the Tasmoto or Tasmota, which sounds so strange to me, the Zigbee radio, we were actually did a bulb and we did the brightness and stuff with it. Yeah, I'm fully aware, Dale, that the world is not flat, right? But hey, had to work today. It's sometimes I get to do a stream. It's been a while since I've been able to do a stream on Friday. So, oh, okay, well, cool. Hang out, not a problem. And don't take me serious, Dale, as you know. So, um, so HACS, you were saying I haven't seen that one. It was called Would you say mail and packages or something? So I'm not seeing that one in this little store. This is why you don't sleep. Yeah, I don't have too many. Oh, we got custom repo. Okay. We'll see if you can link that when you get a chance. Now, speaking of custom repo, while we wait, if you want to do now it's not for the Raspberry Pi ARM users yet. I don't know if it works on 64-bit Raspberry Pi. I do know it works on, and we kind of showed it before, but they've changed a lot to it. Is the Tasmobackup, and let's see. So if you haven't seen the Tasmobackup, let's see. I'll try and put it where it's going to not wrap. Yeah, there's Patrick. Won't work on ARM 64 yet, pre-compiled. Yeah, Patrick and Foghorn. I don't know if Foghorn's here. I didn't see him much today. I know he's in the UK as well. But if you, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Patrick. So we go to add, now this for the NUC people. If we went to, is it, I think we'll find it here. Is it here? I'm probably digging up the wrong thing. All right, Patrick. Patrick will probably get it real quick. Tasmobackup. Yeah, here it is. This one. And don't we got to do the V1 thing? Yeah. So if you add, yeah, see I had it backwards. I was thinking damned. If you go into, which I don't have a HAS.io right now running, I don't think. That I don't know if that VM is running right now. Can't post a URL. If you send it on, sometimes it should give us a message to approve the URL. But if you do send it on Discord, either me or Pickle or somebody we'll try to see. I'll try to keep an eye on the thing if I see it show up. Let's see. Well, we'll show you one. I don't have one right away. Yeah, drop Sour Pickle a message on Discord, and he'll drop it in. All right. So for the NUC people, if you go in and add the Tasmobackup, let's see if we can stop getting it behind me. How about we do this? There we go. Now this is a Pi, so it's not going to show right. But if you have a NUC, I want to show you what it does with a Pi. So if you have a NUC, which is, you know, like the AMD 64, it will add the Tasmobackup repository. And you can go through, I'm going to add my mouse so y'all can see what I'm pointing at, instead of just moving the mouse around. So it will add the Tasmobackup repository, and if it's red, then of course you can't use it. And it should be pretty much, I've used it on Unraid, and I did do a template on Unraid. So for the Unraid users, if you just go through and search for Tasmobackup in the apps, it's pretty much a one-click install for Docker, and you don't need to do the MySQL stuff anymore. You can will use SQLite. And also, after me bugging a few times, let me make sure it does not show. Yeah, it was going to show my password. Maybe we should add that as a feature, right? So if you go to the settings in it, you don't have to put this in here. You can put in your MQTT host, username, and password, and then just hit save, and it'll do a scan of all the, I'm getting back out to the screen. It will do a scan of that group topic through MQTT, and it will pull in all of your Tasmota devices. Or you can just go down towards the bottom. Let's see. You can just go down towards the bottom and you can add them in by IP address manually. This is doing the MQTT discover. It'll pull them straight in, and you get this nice little list. And you can also schedule backups using the all backups. And it's pretty cool, pretty simple. And you want to back up a Tasmota device, you put a bunch of rules on or whatever, and you just hit backup, and boom, it backs up the device. And I've got 60 devices in here right now, and it doesn't take too long. You can hit backup all, and it'll go through and back up. And what it's doing is pulling the exact backup. Like if you went into Tasmota and into the interface itself, and you can see it backed up all 60 devices that quick. And all it's doing is going through, and just like if you would go through and hit backup configuration. Hey, I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. A million already. I never thought I'd get to that, so I appreciate it. So what it's doing is doing the backup, and if you hit backup manually, it just downloads a DMP file, which is so you could just hit restore to it. And it's really beneficial if you use set option 65, and I know some people are like, what is set option 65? It's a good and a bad thing. And I don't know if Steve-O's in here. It actually got the best of him. So set option 65, it's on default as enabled. And what's this designed for is if you fast power cycle the device, then We spend all the money. Yeah, exactly. Ain't no doubt about that. I do the same. If you fast power cycle the device, and it tells about the how to do it in here. Where it can be, yes, after 4 power cycles. But if you get a power, surge from a storm where the power's like click, 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 kicking on and off type thing, then you could end up with potentially 60 devices like I have, all factory defaulted. And then if they're all in Wi-Fi config, well, then now you've got 60 access points with all saying Tasmota dash da 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 based on the device MAC ID. And so now you don't know what device is what. They're all factory defaulted. So what I do is I put set option 65, I put it to 1 after I deploy it into production per se. Yeah, it's a good thing when you're trying to first put it in and say you're figuring out pins and everything else, and you just haven't figured everything out on it, and potentially you could brick it, being a bulb. Well, if you have set option 65 as 0, then of course you can just flicker the lights on and off on it several times and it resets and saves you from having to solder it. So it's a good thing and a bad thing, but always do the backups. And the other side thing is I use the hell out of this interface. Is doing I just sorting by name, and I have all my devices right here. If I want to, hey, I want to go to downlight 5, I know I can just go in here and click the address, and boom, I can pull up the interface real quick. I used to have to go dig through my Unify interface, and then there's no links, and you got to log in and everything. This just makes it super simple for me. So, yeah, kids also reset it. So there's the link just in time. I guess before, anybody got any questions or input on the Tasmobackup thing? So Tasmo, did I post that again? So here's the link for Tasmobackup, and you can add that as a repo in the, I don't even know what the name we're going to use today. I was actually joking about it using Hank or Honk, HA non-core, HANC. So the backups, that's a whole nother deal. Yeah, and I don't know if you'll get threaded scans due to the way, I know I've seen Patrick talk about that with PHP and stuff. So luckily you don't have to do scans that often. The backup, there is in the settings, I know you're trying to get me to click that cog wheel again, so I'll show my password, but even though it's just a generic MQTT password, but whatever. Is if you go in there, it shows where it's going to be backing up. But I know, I don't, in the Home Assistant, when you're doing it as an add-on, I'm not really sure where it stores them at. I know they were looking for them. It's under the Docker container that's for the add-on. Just not sure exactly where it stores them. I haven't dug around and used it in my VM that I have to play around with on Home Assistant. I know someone was successful. They did a full snapshot of everything of Home Assistant, and then they opened the snapshot and went and grabbed the backups out of it. That was kind of a around the world type thing. So they are in there. You may have to go dig and find out where they're at. The Costco Fate multicolor light bulb. I know I have seen people doing some of those, but I know they changed some of the hardware revisions on them, and I don't know the LED what LED driver it is. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna jump to we're gonna go to the link that Sour Pickle gave us. A Home Assistant mail and packages. What's up, Jay? Okay. Yeah, I hadn't messed around with that. One's interesting. I know they did some of this in the past with going to they had some UPS and FedEx and USPS components. I guess they broke it all. I know they got rid of they deprecated some of those because they were doing scraping and they tried to get away from doing that. I'm not sure what they're doing here on this custom component. We'll have to take a look at that one and see what it takes to log in. Yes, Michael, the switches are to your convertible still, and if you want to, this always does help out things. That's a link to the page for, yeah, that's a link for the my little page, and I do actually have a Martin Jerry section, and these typically if anybody sends something and says, hey, no, they're not ESP anymore, I'll take them off these lists. Like for instance, the 3-way dimmers are not on here. So the switches are on here. They got 4-packs, the dimmers. These Asenex dimmers are gonna be the same as the Martin Jerry dimmers. They're actually just rebranded by actually Martin Jerry. They just have a different faceplate to them. You can see that it got the same type of rocker and the button. It's just a little different faceplate to them. So I know they were doing for a while. I don't see it here. They were doing like $14 a piece, but looks like they're $30 for 2-pack, which is $15 for a dimmer is pretty good for it. So, but you can dig through here, a bunch of stuff in here. Does help things out. It's all up to you, or you can just buy them direct or whatever you want to do. That's all your choice. Yes, I do work in the IT field day to day, not hardware wise anymore though. That was getting out, going the wayside. So I got into doing some software and DBA, database, data analytics type stuff. So, but I did do a lot of sensors and electronics. Actually, I did oil field instrumentation, and we did a lot of everything was 12-volt DC or 5-volt DC. A lot of the sensors were they were a pretty simple system. We fed a lot of sensors. We fed them 5 volts, and then as a baseline, they fed 1 volt to show the sensor was active, and then they would have a range from 1 to 5. Yeah, Martin Jerry, the ice cream. And then we also had some gas detector sensors were 4 to 20 milliamps. Some sensor. Then we had some the pit probes. Those were all a bunch of reed switches with different resistors, and they fed back 0 to 5. So it was all a fiber optic based system, but you would laugh. The fiber optic everything worked at 57.6 baud, even over fiber optic. We didn't use the fiber optic wasn't for speed. It was because of just all the massive amount of electrical interference on the drilling rigs. So that's where a lot of the sensor background stuff comes from and everything. So just, I guess, the messing with things. So we covered Tasmobackup. What else? Did I miss any questions? And this is still valid. It's just sometimes some of the holes are plugged. I must keep scrolling through it. I did this video when To Your Convert was locked out on us. And I had a lot of different switches and stuff that had open pin headers where, this basically didn't require soldering to flash them. And I do have the Martin Jerry. There's a picture of the Martin Jerry 2-way switch. And you showing actually if you wanted to, it's just a plan B. if for some reason you did happen to brick it, or you just don't want to do the whole till you convert thing, you can just pop this open. This doesn't require even a screwdriver to get this far, and you can just attach to the pins here, and you can flash it the USB way. So, and actually that's one of the things I actually have. It's behind me for doing my till you convert testing. Is I actually have a front of a Martin Jerry switch that I use, and I have the stock Tuya firmware, and I flash the entire Tuya stock firmware to it, and then run Tuya convert on it and for the different testing. So let's close some windows we got here. So Hutch, is Hutch still around? Do you have a Canadian Amazon referral? Is that a thing, or too much to hassle? The only thing I'll tell you, Zachary, is or is in call it Zach, whatever you want, or you tell me, is I do have a referral to it. That's the Canadian one, and it's just gonna jump straight to it. Is I do have a list on there, but it's hard to keep up that list as well. And I do even have a UK one, and I usually will list them in the video, and it's just will get you to Amazon. And usually depending on how it works, so some of that will help out, whether like you're a UK or Canadian or whatnot. It's just hard to kind of keep up the list for all those countries, of course, since I can't also order those products. I do prefer to order the products and stuff to see how they are before I stick them on my list and like recommend them. If that makes sense to you. So if there is anything you want me to add to the list of like stuff on the Canadian side, I have a couple things on there, but it's just hard to keep up with. But that referral link should work as well for the Canadian side, and you can also, if you look in my Discord, you can always find those. Let's see if Nightbot's going to be awake in the chat. Yeah. If you look at my Discord, you can also find those links always with many other things in the quick links channel. That's just kind of locked just for a bunch of quick links. I do have like some of the templates, Tasmota templates, a few different things in there. So yeah, I guess we can do it here. So just the quick links just has some of the stuff, and you can go through there and there's not a whole lot in that channel. So, and I do appreciate it. Let's see. I need to minimize that. And so Hutch had a question, and so before we can get there, is the one deal we were gonna do was, I know this was working the other day, and it was for these BN link plugs. And they're showing $17.99 right now for anybody watching this later as the recording of this video. There was a code, and I'll put this here in a separate message, that you could put in, and it would do like 35% off. And I think it was getting them down to like $11.69 or 61 or something like that for 2 plugs with power monitoring. And I do have them here, and they're pretty solid plugs. So if you were looking for a plug, and I'll fix the focus. So if you're looking for a plug that was like I don't know what's on this plug, but it was like the Sonoff this is the S31 Lite, but the Zigbee version. But I know a lot of people have seen the S31, so we'll use it in relationship to it. It's pretty much the same See if we can get a little better height without shaking it too much, making y'all sick. Yeah, so Zach, usually just if you a lot of times if you do navigate through using one of those links, that usually will help out. I know they sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I do appreciate that. But this is the S31. A lot of people have seen the S31 by Sonoff, but it's pretty well the same size. But the big key here is this plug is to your convert. Oh, look, chat's working now. It just worked right in the middle. So it's not working anymore, not valid anymore. So, damn, it's still a decent deal, even with, let me flip back. Because what are we paying for Sonoff S31s? So Sonoff S31s, you're paying like, don't buy the light. That's no power monitoring. $19 right now, or $36. So that's $18 on Amazon. I don't know what are they. I don't know what they are on. They still sell them on IT. The camera. Yeah, it looks like they're $16.90 as well, and then you got to add shipping on it, so it probably comes about the same, and then it probably takes a month to get them, depending on. But so still a decent deal for you because you get two of them, and they do power monitoring. And there's two. I was going to use them use them as an example. I guess I should do. Let's see. Is the chat working because of the... That's so weird. Let's see if the chat works. The chat working here now? Let's see. The 4-pack is a good deal. Do you know if it's wired right? Oh, that's a good idea. We can try that. Sour, I've got a little circuit tester. Got a multimeter. 4-pack is a good deal. Yeah, so the 4-pack. Where's the 4-pack? Let's see. What did the 4-pack come out to? Got to wait. So, yeah, so the 4-pack's even says $27.99. So do the math real quick, people. What's up, Doc? Yeah, so it's kind of my next closest, if that's a thing, to being good like the S31. They are, I will say they are going to be sealed. I say they are going to be sealed. So if you can't, that's the one thing with the S31, you'd have to pry this. I'm sure it's glued. There's a little lip, and you would have to pry it out, pry it apart. So, people always worry about plugs. Not if you have fire, the home it won't cover the loss. I've actually had way back. I've had a discussion with one of the insurance adjusters, and he was one of those old school guys, and he said, the UL listing just is not what it used to be, and he made a joke about that if they weren't going to cover any just devices that were you had to be blatant. Basically, what it was telling me was you had to be blatant of like you saying they had to be able to prove like you really did something really bootleg and was trying to create a fire and being negligent. But if you were just buying something off of the internet that was like off Amazon that seemed legit and you were just using it as intended, then they wouldn't be, as an insurance company, be able to to insure the home, because none of the home the banks would want to insure that. So because their people are just aren't going to be. It's just, I can just see people would just default on them if they had a fire and everything. So yeah, there's some things I would leave out. Patrick is tell them you didn't, don't tell them you flashed it and all that good stuff. So there's some things that's better left unsaid. So yeah, I'm not sure. I can't see it making any. Besides like light bulbs, I can't see it making any difference. Because the reason why I say some of the light bulbs have they have limits put in them and prevent them from being like you could take a light bulb that say had like 5 LED channels, and you could make every single channel send out to full brightness, and which of course that bulb was never designed to do that. With the plug, I don't know if you could really intentionally make one of them overheat somehow. I don't know how you, without again plugging in something that's going to be over the power rating on them. So, but yeah, there's the color to. Don't send that command that Sour just sent. Okay, just don't. So I guess y'all want to do either. I've got one ready with Tasmota, or we can 2-year convert the other one. It's up to you. If y'all want to see one done with 2-year convert, I guess I'll show you where the where to edit out that part of the backup. Let's see. If everybody let's see if y'all can pick on my Linux, my non-Linux skills. Let's see. I think it's just start flash if we want to do it in. Is nano in here? I don't know if we have to do a pseudo nano, but let's just do it. So if we look for, let's make this a little bigger. Appearance. Change settings. Let's see what happens if we do 14 point. If it totally blows out the screen. That makes it a little easier to see for you guys. So what I do, because the backups are really kind of useless for the most part, and I don't like waiting on them. If you look down if you edit the start flash, and however you want to edit it, if you want to use, say, WinSCP, if you're more familiar with doing that, or if you want to use Nano, you can also do that as well. Is if you scroll down and look for the section that says doing the backup, this curl command right here, you can just delete it, or if you just want to be, it's up to you. You can comment it out, or you can just throw a simple echo in front of it, and that'll just echo it straight to the terminal. So we'll save that one. The flaring lamp. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so however you want to edit that. I know some people don't want to edit with Nano and all that. You can do that with WinSCP or whatever utility you want to use. And the other one's right in front of me. So we will, let me get an extension cord right quick. All right. Be right back. Bathroom. Everybody need a bathroom break? How long we been on for? Intermission? 52 minutes. That's not bad. Doesn't edit out the inner prompt? No. We have to read the prompt every time. Pick sour. Oh, I didn't put it in pair mode. Or is it in pair mode already? Guess we'll find out. I don't think it was in pair mode. Because I don't see it blinking. Nope. Yep. It's probably going to fail on us, but we'll see. Nope. There it goes. I think. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it's going now. So this one has a red and a blue LED, and I know Hutch had some questions. So we'll look at at Hutch's questions. I know he was talking about trying to send an MQTT message with a short press and a long press, and that we can do that as well, and show we can do it with the little plug and do some short and long press stuff. And I know there's some other ones that wanted to change the LED colors, and it applies to a lot of stuff, different switches, because a lot of switches will have a red LED well, it didn't go through. So yeah, we'll do another one. And hopefully we didn't kill it. It might be has the exploit on it because I was taking my time goofing off on it. Maybe this would be like one of the first bricked ones, right? Let's just try it. Oh, there it goes. So the exploit did go on it. So you'll notice that when it said right here, it went to go fetch the firmware backup, that you can actually see the command. So it just saves all that time. The to convert, insert the backlog commands. Yeah, Tim, I will say those AO Coker plugs with the energy monitoring, I had like a pack of 4. I ended up, one of them wouldn't work, and I had an issue with another one. Actually, I got like 2 out of 4 to convert. So yeah, so the BN ones, we've had no issues with those. So I'm gonna do. I thought this one's kind of neat. They have you look at the LED up top, you can see that blinking red. So you know the LED is on one of the RX or TX lines. Yeah, these would be a pain to solder. And while we're in here, yeah, that's probably one of the first ones I've seen the LED blink with that as well. I haven't done this one either. This one was the I don't think it's on deal anymore. It was a, let's see if I can find it. It was the Blitzwolf. Yeah, it was this one. Actually, $10.99, and then they do have a coupon for $2 on it. So I think it was $8.99 when we got it. There was, I forgot somebody who had posted that in there. But the one thing about that plug was it has, I want to say it does have power monitoring across both plugs, and it has 2 relays and 2 buttons. How are you able to make the web page dark? That is using the Dark Reader plugin. Dark Reader, pretty cool. It does make some pages look funky, but you can set it to turn on and off per page. So, saves your eyesight. I like all the dark backgrounds. So, all right. While we're here, we will do the, let me minimize this again. We'll flash another one. I haven't done this one yet. If it'll let me plug in both of them. Looks like this one does. This one comes up in pairing mode already. We'll let that one do as well. A recommended RGB LED strip. I haven't done too many of those, Dr. Beaker. There was one off of Banggood a while back. It was actually Blitzwolf as well. If you go on Banggood and search that one, and that was, I would make sure, I can tell you with the LED strips, I would make sure that they are RGB plus cool white or warm white, depending on what you want. And we're really going to confuse ourselves because I'm going to have both of these going. I had the other one I've done is, you can probably find some cheaper ones just digging around. I don't know if I even see it anymore. Let's see. I'm looking. Yeah, I still see it here. I've done this one is by the company, and it's just they're all going to be pretty much the same. The Ryofu one. It is, this one's right now as of here is $25. And it's a 16-foot, and it does have it is ESP, and it really, you can just pop it open if you wanted to flash it. But it was RGB and cool white, so it was 4 channels, and you can flash it with whatever because it's just simple PWM. So if you want to go with ESP Home or whatever firmware you wanted to, it's real simple because it's just PWM colors. All right. So we are going to go look for, let's do this one at a time. too many windows floating around my head now. I need to find the IP address to this guy. Look at the info. I need to use battery for a year. Oh, okay. Y'all talking about IP address. Hurry up, Travis. Everybody's waiting. Hutch is waiting. All right, so we got two Tasmota devices, 1010, let's see, at 250 and 248. One 250. And which one came up last? Let me look which one came up last. The 250 came up last. So let's look at the 248. All right. Let's get this window out the way, this window out the way. And we shouldn't need 2-year convert anymore. All right. And then we'll put this guy up here and we'll zoom him up. So first, let's go grab the template for this guy. BN, is it dash link? Yeah, this guy right here. We'll copy this one in. And I'll show you a little cheat if you don't feel like navigating. Once you have a template, this is going to look awful. This zoomed in. Let's scoot this over. If you do module template and then paste in the template that you copied from the template website, it will paste in, and then just do module 0. And that'll just apply that. It's the same thing as if you went into that configure other and then put in the template, you copy it over the other one and put the activate. It's just it's the same exact thing. So we should be able to get the button off of it. So as right now, you can see it's got the blue, and I don't have MQTT set up. So I bet you if it's going to start, it should start blinking possibly due to the LED. I don't know if it has LED link enabled right now. But I'll show you real quick the temporary easy way to do. I know you're probably going to say, where can I get one of these newfangled technology? I have a simple lamp with a old school 60-watt light bulb that actually I found in the attic. And this is what I use to do my power calibrations. And what I do is we can plug in. Let's stack a bunch of stuff up here, right? I would normally go look at, I would just typically pull up Home Assistant and find another plug or something. See like a washer, 122, 121. Those are probably rounding. They're probably pretty close. And I'll just find another plug that I've done before on the same phase that I'm on, and then I'll use that as the voltage. They're usually pretty close together. Or you can just use your voltmeter and test out plugging in your voltage, because you can see this one is it's not bad off. It's just not it's not close. So what I do is I'll do a voltage set. Was it 121? We were like 121.5. And then once you get that voltage, you'll set it in. And then I'll plug in my lamp with my 60-watt bulb. And you can see it's 94 watts. So it's going to take calibration. And real simple is you'll do power, set. And you want to use this with a known load. So that's why the 60-watt bulb works great. And just showing, I'm flipping back and forth to show you. See, now the power is set at 60 watts, but is definitely not the correct current. The correct current's going to be at like about half an amp. And the current set for half an amp is actually 500. And now you'll notice we do get pretty close where we need to be. We need to be at 121 volts. We got half an amp, 60 watts. And so then there's your power factor, pretty close for the bulb, which is going to be 1. So, yeah, you can do that with the, if you want to minus off the watts, or you can just put it behind it. And just depending on how close we want to do that, let's see. If we got enough room in the camera. So let's see what we got on watts. So we got 60.3 on watts, and amps, we've got 0.49. So it's, if you want to get it really exact, and then now you question the calibration on the actual meter itself. But a lot of times what we're trying to do it for, it's going to be fine. I will tell you, if you try to do it with, don't try to do it with a, you know, you sit there and think, oh, well, hey, let's do it with a like soldering iron because it's going to pull a lot. You want to get a big range to it. It's something that cycles on and off and moves. You're going to drive yourself crazy. You want to do something that's just a known constant wattage. Yeah, if you wanted to look at that, I know y'all were talking about power monitoring, the power usage. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to do what Paul was saying. So we'll plug in the kilowatt, and we'll actually, let's put this bigger so you guys can see it. So we're doing the kilowatt meter, and then we're plugging in the ESP. And let's look at the watts. Now with the relay off, so you can see it's pulling like what, 0.3. And I'm doing on the other screen, I'm just hitting the console. I'm trying to make traffic with the Wi-Fi, and you can see it kind of fluctuating. And so that's going to be with the relay off. And then when we turn the relay on, you're going to get, which you should see here with the LED, you're going to get about a watt, you know, but then it does drop down. So it's going to fluctuate back and forth. So, and that's what I found kind of typical for these, you know, plugs and stuff like that. So if you want to bring that in calculation of how much money you're wasting each year on all your plugs, as well as what you buy on Amazon, you can figure that into it. So what was Hutch? What was your question about the plug and everything? Because I was gonna do real quick while you type up your question. A real common thing I get is the doing some people will want, like, say, a red when it's on and a blue when it's off. And because you can see right now, it's going to be single. And let me put my MQTT in it right quick. I do, when you start messing with plugs, put your MQTT in, because it will cause the sometimes to delay, because it's trying to connect with your MQTT server. So either put your MQTT in, or go in the menu and turn off MQTT when you start messing around with some of the plugs or light bulbs or whatever it is. You want to do a single press to send MQTT things, long press to toggle. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do it right quick, and I'll try to keep the display big. It'd probably drive me crazy, but we'll see what we can do. So in configuration, since this is configured, and I want to talk about real quick, I know there's confusion on some of this, is people don't understand what the configure module versus configure template is. And if you haven't been around Tasmota for a while, and you probably know how to pronounce it, unlike me, then we didn't have the configure template button. This configure template was not here at all. The only way you could do a configure, a new device, was you really just had to do it you would have to go to configure module, and then you would go in and you would set it as generic. Well, then one of the other issues is all the power monitoring pins. You couldn't put the power monitoring pins in. So the only way to get a new power monitoring device was actually go in and make a brand new module in code, do a pull request, and get Theo to build it into Tasmota itself, which of course that does create bigger firmware. And you can only imagine now with after till you convert, that just exploded. So around that same time, they did bring in the templates. Well, to kind of prevent, which I will say, Theo and the gang is really good on Tasmota, is not doing a lot of breaking changes. They're really good about that, because you can there's people I know out there with the versions of Tasmota running that have been running for years, and they have not touched them. They work great. And they hadn't touched them, and they've upgraded Home Assistant or Node-RED or whatever it is, and they just work fine. So the way they've kind of shoehorned it in without doing a lot of breaking changes is now they made a module called Module 0. So there's different modules. So typically in the past, if you had a Sonoff Basic, you'd come in here and pick Sonoff Basic. If you had a Sonoff 4-channel, you'd come in here and pick it. You had a Sonoff Bridge. You picked all, and you'll notice there's all these little different plugs and stuff. And you probably think, well, why is there a Tekken US? Well, these got all put in before templates. And so this SK03 outdoor, I actually made that one off of a outdoor power monitoring plug and did that as a pull request. And it could perfectly be taken out right now and be done as a template. But of course, if someone's using that and upgrades, well, then it would be a breaking change. So you'll see those kind of orphaned in there. So if you do come in here and you have a product, now there is some specialty products, of course, like the Tuya MCUs or the iFans. You'll see those as configure modules because there's specialty code in there, and there's not really just a template for it. So when you come in and you pick one off of a module, that's going to so if we pick Sonoff Basic, that's going to choose it as a Sonoff Basic and set those pins like the Sonoff Basic. And no matter what you do, in the template screen, it's going to do nothing, because all the template screen does is configure the layout for Module 0. And if you always wondered, and I know several of us have done it, and we've seen it in Discord with several people, is, hey, I put this template in, it's not doing this, it's still showing this. Well, typically they forgot to check the activate mark on when they put the template in. Well, all that does is select module 0, which in turn activates the template. So it's pretty simple. The template just drives module 0. So to edit that, we can go into the template, and you'll notice there are 2 LEDs on this. Now, the way currently right now, even in this version, I have 8105, is the way if you want to do the LED power commands, you need to make a fake LED link. And so I just find another pin that's really not used. I try to stay away from like 0, 1, 2s. So I'm going to use GPIO 15. And if you're ever curious, what is the red 9 and 10s? That's going to be for the ESP8285 chips, and that's the same, pretty much the same as the 8266s, except in the chip itself, it has onboard 1 megabyte flash. And since it's on board, it frees us up as having 2 more GPIO pins. If you use these pins on an 8266, you would boot loop it instantly because it would mess up the flash. Hey, what's up, Greg? So there is a set option to enable that if you're using the 8285, but they do leave them as red because typically they won't do anything. So I'm going to use GPIO 15, and I'm going to set that one as the that we aren't going to use. And the LED link is going to now the one downside to that, if you do have a Wi-Fi or an MQTT issues, then it's not going to blink anymore. Used to, if you had MQTT was down with the just one LED, it would blink and show that MQTT was down. Well, that's not going to happen anymore because now LED link's going to blink GPIO 15, and we don't have one anymore. So it's 5 o'clock and I can't sleep. Hell, they make some stuff for that. They over the counter and maybe under the counter stuff, Bart. But that's a whole nother thing we won't get to. Always see your doctor. Maybe Dr. Z's can help you sleep, right? Corny dad joke. If he's still here, I'm not sure. I probably put him to sleep already. So now we do have. Why is my phone going off? Yeah. So we do have the LED power 1 commands. Now that you've done that LED link, you can control each LED individually. So you can see I did LED power 1. If you look up there, you'll see that red turned off. And LED power 2, if I do a 1, or you can do on, it's up to you. Or if you have a different version or different language of Tasmota, you need to use that. Watching your new video you just released. You can see we have the blue LED is LED power 2. So if I do turn that off, and of course, if I always get this, well, why is it purple? Well, go back to the elementary things of combining colors. And no, I'm not picking anybody. Normally I just pick on myself about things, so don't take anything personal. Is now you've got the red and the blue on, which makes that kind of pink purple color. So so to control this, of course, I know you're saying, well, how is he going to do this? There's a number of ways. I like to just do a simple rule to do it. So what we're trying to do, blue was LED power 2. So I want that one to be the blue when it's off. So we're going to do a rule. So if you do rule 1 on power 1 state equals 0. And I'll back up and say what you can see. I've typed this before. So the rule 1 is going to be in rule buffer, not rule number 1, because you can have multiple rules inside one buffer. So there's rule 1, 2, and 3, and you can stack as many rules as you can fit. Each one is 511 characters. So then you're going to say the trigger, which is power 1, which is the relay 1. We only have one relay. And then I want to see on the state when it goes to off, which is 0, I want to do a backlog, which is a backlog, if you're not familiar with that, is multiple commands at one time. So we'll do LED power 2. We want that one to be on, and you separate them with a semicolon, and we want LED power 1, we want that one to be off. And then you end that rule. And what that's going to do is when the plug turns off, then it's going to turn blue on and red off. So then we'll do just the opposite, and I hate typing. So we'll do a copy and paste and get this out the way. And we'll do power 1 state equals 1, which is when the relay turns on. We'll turn that one off and do the red on, and then we'll end the rule. And just to look at it to make sure, make sure I did end it with end on. I always try to botch some of the stuff on live streams here. Nova Stella has a lot of funds. Those Nova Stella floods, huh? Don't forget to turn the rule 1 on. And just do rule 1 space 1. It turns that rule on. So now when you turn the power on, we'll get the blue. I guess I did it backwards. Maybe I should have caught me, right? And then it does turn the red LED on when we turn it. No, I have it right. Let me get back. Let me look at the screen. Yeah, on is red, and then blue is off. And so if you wanted to flip those around, you could just flip them around. Now you'll notice, see how it flickers and it goes to a, you'll see that purple or that pinkish color? Well, that's because there is a set option. I haven't plugged in the wall. Hang on, Leonardo. So if you look at, I think it was set option, it was like 34. Yeah. So set option 34, it's sad I'm remembering too many of these set options, is going to be the delay between backlog commands. And if you want to just set option 34, I know we had kind of a debate. I'm not sure if it makes a difference if it's too low. If we set 0, is that a bad thing? I'm not sure. But we can just set it to 1 millisecond. And we can try set it to there. Now you'll notice it's real quick. It goes from red to blue. Saying it low include your Frankenstein, MJ Dimmer. Yeah, if y'all are wondering what they're talking, I know you probably don't like what are they talking about, the Nova Stella funds. Is these guys here? Let's see. The Nova Stella floodlights, they're pretty bright. And it looks like right now they're $89, but then there is a $30 coupon currently if you just do the little check box to bring them down to $60. At $30, if I did the math right, it's too late. $30 $30. I think some of the jokes, and you can see I bought them twice. Some of the jokes was that if you had them pointed at the wrong, um, if you had them pointed at the wrong place, you could end up blinding your future kids. So that was some of the jokes for that. So that's real how you do the LEDs. Now, same thing. I know some people like, hey, I just want one LED, the red LED. When it's on and off, I don't want to see it. You could kind of use that same type of rule to get exactly the LED that you want. And there was another AO Coker switch, excuse me, that actually had three colors in there, and you could do kind of some weird rules with that. So, um, so then now to the buttons. So you wanted to do a long press, short press, right, Hutch? If I didn't put you to sleep yet. So we'll leave the rule 1 in there for now. I like to immediately change the from button to switch. Now I know there's some other ways you can do like double press and different things. Well, I like the quicker press with as doing as a switch. So I'll come in here and change this GPIO, this to button 1 to switch. Now take note, if you do change it to button 1 to switch 1, you're gonna, that 40-second hold to bring something to factory default, you're gonna remove that functionality. So of course, if we set option 65, which turn it on, and you can't fast power cycle it, just be mindful once you set all these things that it's not going to be easy to factory reset them unless you go into the actual GUI itself. Yeah, you could do the button for single press, double press, and hold. I don't know those set options real offhand. I know it's like set option 10 and 11. I haven't done that one recently. Never really thought about long press, short press for a plug and what you would use the hold aspect for. Actually, is if there, let's see. I'll send you a, let's see. I usually have my list up, but I don't. I actually did a video on it a while back, and I still use this every day and would and rely on it every day. Is that video there? And I have it actually on my nightstand, and I have this just, probably thinking, well, hey, you're going to get shocked or whatever. It's a power strip. And I have a couple like, like my watch charger, my phone charger or whatever. I've got a little IR thing here. And I use that button. I actually have a short press, turns on the down light above me on my side of the bed. And then if I do a long press, it does a MQTT message that will actually either turn off both downlights in the bedroom, or if just the wife's downlights on, it'll turn it off, or it'll turn them both on. It goes to a light group for the long press. And it makes it simple for turning the lights off. If she's sleeping, I was watching TV or something, I can just hold it down. So the MQTT setting for the ESP lights, ESP home lights. What was the... Hang on to that one. So I appreciate it, John. Hang on to that one. In that question. And if you like my corny intro, it's one of the issues that I've run into before. So it's an interesting little video. So I don't know if you probably can hear the video. I'm probably talking off over it. So I just use a simple little Wi-Fi. I actually don't use the relay in it at all. And so that's what just have one of those little round plugs on my nightstand. And I think it was, you can find them anywhere from like, what, $5 to $8. I know I could have made something, printed a 3D case, did a power supply, and did a Wemos D1 Mini. But hell, this was already packaged together for $5 to $8, and I could just plug it in and rock and roll. So, so back to the what is talking about. I'm not sure what you're asking about. Yeah. So back, what I'd like to do is I'll change it to switch 1, and just it's simple for me doing a long press and a short press. Once I change it to switch 1, how long we been at this for? Hour and 32. Okay. Now, one thing you're going to notice is if I push the button, it's just, you'll notice it's just staying. You probably see it easier on the console. If I push the button, it actually is just turning on, and it's turning off then right back on. And actually I have to hold it. Well, that's going to be due to your switch mode. And typically for most devices, if you do a switch mode 1, which is the first switch, we only have 1, instead it is 5. Oh, if I would spell it right, switch mode 1, 5. Then now it'll work like it's supposed to. And it will be like you're just pushing the button. Now, one additional option you want to do is set option 32, and we'll do 8. And that's going to be like 8/10 of a second is going to be the long press. And because it defaults to 40, which is going to be 4 seconds to do a long press. So you'd have to hold it down 4 seconds before it trigger a long press. That's just a long time to do it. So to make sure I have things right, I'll do a rule 2, because we already had rule 1 for the LED. We'll do switch 1, and I won't do a state equals something. I'm just going to do publish, and we'll say this is that BNC or something, BN plug. We'll do BN plug. Get this out the way. Button, and then % value, and I'm going to explain this before I hit enter. So rule 2 on switch 1 state is anytime the switch 1 state changes, no matter what it is, it's going to do an MQTT publish, a non-retain publish to this topic, and the value is going to be what the state of the switch was. And it will help you just get the switch state right. So we'll put that in, and don't forget to turn on your rule. And so now when we push the button, you'll notice it's not going to toggle the relay anymore. See, the blue is still staying lit up. I know you can't hear it probably, it's not triggering the relay anymore. And I'm just doing short presses, and you can see on the log, it's doing a MQTT publish to this topic, and the payload is 2. Because that's the state. Now, if I do a longer press, you're going to see now it does the 3. And so that's kind of your test to see if you can get it to do something. Now, because you stole the state, it decouples it from the relay. So just like the video I just showed, is I do a short press and a long press, it does not change the actual relay on that plug itself. I actually don't use the relay on it. I just leave it as off because I'm just using it as a simple Wi-Fi button. So, but once you steal the state, and I think Hutch wanted to do a long press, was going to toggle the relay. So we'll do a rule 2 and do on switch 1 state equals 2, which was his short press. We'll do publish, and I'm just doing a simple, we're going to do a command and to turn on a fake bulb. I don't have it. And I could say like living room power toggle end on. And then, anyway, turn that off. Turn what off? We do have the double press. There is a double press. It's well, we'll look at it in a minute in the wiki. So on switch 1 state equals 3, which is the long press, we want it to do the toggle of the actual relay. So on power on, no, we'll do it on switch 1 state 3, which is long press, do power 1 toggle end on. So that's what Hutch was wanting. And we'll paste this in here and see if I did type it correctly. All right, Greg, take it easy. So rule 2 is going to do, rule 2 is going to do the state is going to do, which is going to short press, is going to send an MQTT message, and you can have the MQTT message do whatever you want. Trigger an automation in Home Assistant, Node-RED, go directly to trigger another switch or whatever you want. And then, so rule 2 is on. So now, let's give it a check if I did the syntax right. So now, what I did is to short press, and you'll notice it's doing a publish to command living room power and sends a toggle. So if we actually had on the Tasmota device, it would, I'm reading Sour's stuff with rule 3. He's trying to distract me. So now if we do a long press, it actually is going to toggle the plug. And you can see it does the red and then the blue back and forth. And then, of course, if we did long press, it's going to send the MQTT. Yeah, now, Sour, there's probably you don't have to do it that rule way. If you do a look at power on state, this was before rules. You could do power on state as if you wanted that when it powered up. If you wanted it to power up and have the toggle, you could have it, keep the relay on or whatever every time it does boot up. Wish they add a color state. Yeah, that would be cool to do the color on state. Because maybe we can bug Patrick. He's good at those pull request things, right? Because I can tell you what I would use it for is when Home Assistant was stupid and sends a RGB white and will do I call it lavender white on a bulb. And when you tell it to via voice assistant, hey, turn this such and such white, and it sends over a stupid RGB white instead of actually using the white channel. So, so we're at 1:40, hour 40, and I've got no hard out. I was just trying to keep it under 2 hours for myself. I don't have a hard out really. We didn't do that. We didn't do the Blitz Wolf, but there is a topic on that. It's actually all bulbs. I don't know if it's a Home Assistant like bug. It's just not a feature that they built into it, because it seems to me like there would be, hey, if you call for cool white, it should look at and it should go through like Nabukasa or whatever it is, and it should. Oh, hey, does it have a white channel? Well, let's just use the white channel and not send any RGB at all. So yeah, I've kind of covered that as a bunch of times before, and I just try to step through it each way, and it's cool being able to mess around with the rules, and you can control everything you want with the buttons and everything. So, yeah, the RGB switch is definitely weird because it does have, there's like red, blue, and green on the small LED, and there's red, blue, and green on the actual face of it, and that was the video I did my traffic notifications with, somewhere in my list of things. Must be on the previous page. I ended up using Node-RED with that when I did that one. Let's see. I'm trying to find a link for you. Anybody else out there? Yep. And actually, I did try to actually put ESP Home on that one and put it as 2 RGB lights. It was just too much for the ESP8266. It would get delayed so bad. So, and now back to ESP Home. That there was a question up from John Farmer. I don't know if he's still here. John, what was your question on check the MQTT setting for ESP Home lights? What was that one? Yeah, I can tell you what I did while I'm waiting on John Farmer to come back with his thing. Let's see. I want to say I did, if I can find it, FBath. See, I tell you, I use the Tasmobackup thing all the time. I'm trying to remember. I think I just used, how did I do this one? I don't see it's been that long. I did cover it in that video, and this is how I still have it. Yeah, I use the LED power commands. So I did use the PWM 1, 2, and 3 for the actual face of the switch. And then I used LED. I did LED 1, 2, and 3. And I send LED power commands to that smaller LED based on the status of the light. And the switch, I forgot why I have switch 2 in there. I'm not sure why. Because there isn't switch 2. There isn't a 2 switch in there. Maybe that was on accident. I was messing with something. What are the MQTT commands for ESP Home? That's easy. So I'm one of the weirdos that use, I know everybody wants to use, let me get this off the screen. We're not using the plugs anymore. Yeah, it does only give you the primary colors. That's why I tried to use ESP Home with it on that smaller LED, but it was just, I think those 6 PWM channels, because it's all software and doing things with other software, it was just too much for the ESP8266. It was weird. Like you would click it, it was so delayed. I don't know if that was an ESP Home thing or so. So for MQTT it's this simple. I don't know if you can see it. If you want to use MQTT with ESP Home, the YouTube chat's going to eat it up. It won't keep the formatting. Yeah, and see, for lights, I actually prefer Tasmota for lights because of that white issue with the white issue on ESP Home, and maybe there a better way of doing it, is it detaches the white slider and the color slider. I like how in Tasmota that if you did pick a white, it would automatically throws the color down to 0 for you. Oh, the HA config? What do you mean H? Oh, so I just use it. Just comes over as auto discovery. And now, if you unless you're using, are you wanting to do? Are you talking about Node Red? Is that what you were asking about? How to control it with Node Red? Yeah, I've seen that multiple times, Frederico. Um, yeah, so if it auto discovers and it will come in, and I know used to it they took it out. Used to you could come in here and click this little button and it had HA configuration. It would actually build a copy and paste of the YAML to put into your configuration of MQTT, but they took it out. So, and they said, hey, just use auto discover, and then of course then they pushed API. So yeah, I could use a DNS because I could just put it in Pi-hole. Pi-hole does the DNS. That is a pretty good idea, and not having to as long as your Pi-hole is up. So yeah, it would be a way back version, John. So you have to, which it should be on. I would assume it would be on Docker Hub if you want to look at an older tag. Um, yeah, I've got a bulb. I'll show you. But well, it's outside. So let's see if we can let's see if it'll do one. Um, let's see. So these are the older Lohas. I've never converted them back to Tasmota. Wow, that's gonna look weird. If you have the brightness all the way down, it actually is off, but it's actually on. And so it's actually, this is like two separate lights. And so then you have the white. Now you could say it does give you better flexibility because you could mix in more white you can actually mix that white channel with the color. But now the question is, was that bulb power supply ever designed to do that, to do whites and the colors? You got to find out. Maybe hopefully not find out the hard way, but you see you've got two different brightnesses. And if I bring this white in, well, it's still going to have the color mixed in it. And now, so the way it does with Tasmota is if I'll pick one of these down lights, if I turn that guy on, and we do pick a red, you'll notice the white value jumps immediately down. Now, there is a way you can make this work like ESP Home where it detaches these. It's just changing one thing in the template. But you notice how the white value changes. And immediately, if you hit white on it, it actually cuts the RGB off so it turns all the RGB channels off, which is what I want. We use color every once in a while. And then typically we use white 98% of the time. And so I just want to be able to just hit the white slider and it kick out the RGB channels without having to cut it down and everything. So yeah, because it sends that, what was that color command? I haven't looked in behind there, Patrick. Yeah, I think there is a set option in there, as well as there's just a simple, you can change the template to not use the white command. Did you do a zero crossing dimmer? No, I haven't done a zero crossing dimmer. So I'm more of an ESP Home person of doing I like to do the my oddball sensors and stuff like that, but like plugs and light bulbs and switches, I just find it easier to do in Tasmota. It's just easier to deploy for me. I just throw the template in MQTT and done. So, yeah, I wish there was an option. There might be with ESP Home. I just haven't seen it. I've looked for a thread in ESP Home. I was a thread on GitHub where someone was doing a weird driver that was gonna intercept that and correct that issue. So, yeah, 151. What else? I know people were asking with the, let's see if we can get it to go. We'll put this guy down here. I'm turn the light on. I would use the voice assist. Some people were asking about the Unify switch. I played around more with the Zigbee bridge for the Sonoff. I still can't get it to add any devices. I don't know why. Yeah, a lot of people pick. Why do you say it like that? It's probably because we used forever and a day. We used Motorola, the walkie-talkies for radios and headsets, and we always shortened it. We called them Moto. Did you get your Moto? You charge your Moto, and so I think that just kind of rolled into it. So, and I try to say it both ways, but I guess my southern slang tongue screws it all up. So that Unify switch, was it in? Who's got the link to that? It was, here it is. You're talking about this guy. And let me put I should put the screen up, right? So I wouldn't say that Zigbee or Z-Wave or things of the past. I know there's a lot of people that love the Z-Wave. I used to use Z-Wave, but I fought it for several years between different hubs and everything. I had a lot of interference on 900 megahertz, and that kind of drove me to the Sonoff Basic, which then turned me into seeing Doc's video on it, and then kind of when I accidentally installed Home Assistant, and so then I was just like, wow, we have these Sonoff Basic things. They're like $5 to $8, and they just work. So that kind of drove me away from Z-Wave. The Zigbee stuff, I can say that Zigbee is going to probably hold on more than the Z-Wave because of, I think it's, whether it's more open. I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out. And also Zigbee is, I know they had kind of those two standards, if you want to say that, but it's like the same channel across worldwide, unlike Z-Wave. So it allows the manufacturers just to make one. So, the Zigbee stuff for like battery powered, until you start to get to that Wi-Fi 6 that is going to do for battery powered, I just don't see, and that's going to take a while to get there because then you're going to need the devices and the chipsets and everything to get there. It's just going to take us a while. The cons, battery powered devices, Tim, they suck for Wi-Fi. It's just not designed for it right now. With the current state of Wi-Fi we're doing now with 2.4 gigahertz, 802.11n or G just sucks for battery powered. So, but I can say I absolutely love the Wi-Fi MQTT devices for instance, right now, I do have a Zigbee stick in my Home Assistant server, but it doesn't go that far. I can't even get stuff in the back of the house. I don't have repeaters or anything. I would have to set up some of that. If I wanted to right now, I could take a Sonoff Basic and go stick it at my neighbor's house. It'd work great. And that's with doing some, I just have 2 ubiquity access points. And if I add more coverage for you, like say ubiquity access points or whatever type of brand you want to use, more than just your devices benefit from the extra coverage. Your additional phones or tablets or whatever else would work with that. So the big thing that Zigbee and Z-Wave have, it's immediate local control without doing any type of firmware flashing and confusion or anything like that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. And I know we're kind of, but then, then again, they're paying 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks for some dimmers or switches when we can turn around and find stuff on Lightning deals for 10 to 15 bucks for even a dimmer that works on that. But of course, we have to do the work of, say, flashing to your convert. Now, if you really want to, you could do the to your cloud, but of course, then it's in the cloud. So what was your question? I know we went long on that. What was your question, Sour, on the cool little switch? And I know this out there. I want to say they were saying the switch was $11. It was like $9 to $11 for shipping to it. So it is a cool little switch. It is a managed switch. And it is, which I really liked, it's powered by USB-C. And I'm going to go ahead and bash on Apple needs to get with it and just switch everything to USB-C. They should have done this years ago. Everything should be USB-C. Even like this stupid Sonoff Zigbee bridge should be USB-C. Get rid of all the USB mini stuff. So yeah. But this powered by USB-C, or it's also powered by power over Ethernet. Now, it's not power over Ethernet out, so don't think you're going to power it with some, power over Ethernet and split the 2 or 3 cans. So, but yeah, you can do its managed switch, VLANs for 29 bucks, with the cool little, and pros and cons, it's in the controller. I like some of the, like my simple switches. I kind of like the web GUI. So I'm kind of on the fence whether I'd want to do that or not. So yeah, I can't stand micro USB. That needs to go. We've had micro USB for so long. Yeah, I saw the EU standards are continuing to drive, and I hope they're going to drive Apple into saying, like, look, just get rid of that stupid Lightning connector and just do USB-C. So, the only, I wasn't going to cover it, that I was just messing with them. I'm going to close with this, is, I'm not trying to intentionally bash Sonoff, but, I don't know. They bash themselves sometimes. The camera sucked. I say the Sonoff Mini sucked. What else? I'll say the Sonoff dimmer sucked. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand this. I know I laughed at this before, but this is an end wall. Look, I'm dropping all the screws out of it. I'm not going to say it's total bad. I probably will use it in the project home for the washer. It does have, it's a regular US size. It's just a touch panel. It's only one plug. I don't know why they did it just to one plug and just didn't put a little touch panel on the side. But it does have, I don't know if you can see it here. You can recognize it is an ESP8285. And there is, well, I gotta turn the autofocus back off. It's not via holes, but there's 3.3 RX, TX, ground. And I was looking at it. GPIO 0 is not pinned out, so I will have to touch it on the actual chip to flash Tasmota. And it looks like it does have the same power monitoring that CSE 7766 chip that the S31 has. So this does have power monitoring in it, which is why I was going to do this in that project home and just put power monitoring in the wall. And there is just one thing plugged in there, which is the washing machine. And I guess I should check the wattage. It is, yeah, it's 15 amp, 1800 watts. So it should be fine to do on the washing machine. The other thing they had, which was similar, it's just a single push button for a switch, and it does kind of fit the same thing. It looks exactly the same. Is, if I can take it out of here. Well, it is the same type of layout with the chip inside there, and it does have power monitoring as well with that same CSE 7766 chip. Yeah, the Shelly PM is probably a better deal, and it's easier to flash if you want to, or you don't even have to flash it. You just use MQTT with the stock firmware if you want to. You take a picture when you flash it, when you hook to. Yeah, I'll probably do a small little blog post with it, and some of those, like I did with that scene controller, is, and we did show on one of the live streams. I'll usually will post them as a community post. I don't know if you guys see them in the YouTube thing when you get your notifications, and I'll post them in there. And this was just that scene controller, and I did post the like the rules and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll post like what I did with those, and but like that's that scene controller, and I'll post something for like when I'll take a couple pictures and I solder to it and stuff, and put some like 5-finger death punch on and just get my soldering on, and I'll take some pictures of it. So, all right, Simon. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, and see, I don't know why they got rid of that plug, but I guess it does have power monitoring. And it would work perfect for the washing machine because there's only one thing typically plugged in where the washing machine is in this situation, because there's the other side's the electric dryer. So, do you know if there's an RF bridge for alarm sensors at 435 megahertz? No, I don't. You may look into. Someone may correct me on this. It's the. Oh, is it open? Like open SDR or something? No, there's. Maybe someone can tell me what it is. There's a like add-on, or there's also a Docker container, and you can do this a software-defined radio, and you can get one of those little USB sticks, and you can sniff whatever frequency it might be that you want. I've played around with it, and even it's kind of cool that you could even sniff. And I was picking up. The tire pressure sensors in cars that were driving by and seeing the pressure of their tires. And then you could drive that all into MQTT or whatever you wanted to do to feed it. So the dual outlet in Discord that I use. I don't know. Not seeing that right now. Where'd you post it at? Davin? In general, maybe? There it is. Yes, I do have one of those. The, actually, if, let's see. If you look on this one, we referenced this earlier. Actually, I covered it. And down here, here's the yeah, there's no power monitoring. I've actually done this one, and here's the link to that article. Just to, again, and actually in that video I was showing you can actually see there's ground, RX, TX, and voltage. And I want to say, I don't remember from the video, I want to say the button was GPIO 0. And so you could, that was before Y2U convert was locked. You can do that with 2U convert, but then the really cool thing, I really like devices that you have the plan B. If you really screw it up, you can pop it open and flash it with the USB. That's just, it's just like that sense of security. So yeah, there's a few SDR open projects. And there was one I saw that they had MQTT in there and everything that would actually send that. It was like running a Docker container. So it was pretty cool. I would look for those and see if you can find those sensors at 435 megahertz. It's pretty close to 433. So, but if nobody has, those do power monitoring. No power monitoring, Leonardo. The Sonoff ones do. Let's see. Was it this one? IW. Let's see. Yeah, it was this guy here. I can't see if I got my video still up. Yeah, and it's about the same price as a S31, a little cheaper, but it's in the wall. So if you want something a little cleaner, it's up to you. So, let's see. RTL 433. Yeah, that one's it. What were we looking at? I guess Sean answered. Good trail there for Portis. Yeah, the Portis firmware, it is doable. And there is another one I was messing with doing the ES Purna mod on the Sonoff RF bridge to have it skip and doing the resistor mod to jump past and have the ESP do all the transmitting and receiving. You can catch more things with it. I kind of went down that rabbit hole one day and was trying to mess with that. So, but another day, another dollar on that one. I think that was about it. We were going to mess around with. If y'all don't have anything else, I know we've ran way long, but hey, that's what Friday night's for, right? So this video will take a while to process, given I think it's over 2 hours. It takes a while to process. So, but can't think of anything else. I don't have anything. I'm not doing any giveaways this time, unfortunately. And I appreciate everyone hanging out. Got some cool stuff. Getting beads this year. Yeah, I'll do the throw me something, mister, right? If you know the New Orleans thing, you're probably you can get that one. So, alrighty, well, y'all take it easy and have a good one. Hey, I appreciate it, John. Thanks a lot.